Hey, how's it going, investors? Welcome to another video. And today we'll be covering Riot blockchain. Now, there's been a lot of news on Bitcoin with the recent surge in the price, and there's also a lot of unusual option activity that I wanted to share with you guys that I ran into. And remember, these videos are for entertainment purposes, so please contact your financial advisor to get any further advice on this trade idea. But when looking at Riot, we're seeing that the price of Bitcoin has been going up pretty significantly because a lot of interest in companies seeking to potentially switch from move their cash to different type of asset class like Bitcoin or metals. So you can see that Bitcoin has been pretty popular in the news throughout, but there's been a lot of speculation, and recently there's an analyst from NKM Partners that is saying that the next stop for Bitcoin will be roughly around 25,000 price range to extend its rally. And I'll post a link to this article down in the description, but if you can see in the article, they're doing some analysis, and I think the analyst was on an interview on CNBC, so you can catch that. But basically, there's this bullish pattern that's showing up with this flag, which is a really good pattern to note. So you can see that Bitcoin reached its highs around the 20,000s, and then is looking to potentially break out of that pattern, that flag pattern there. So there's a lot of potential for Bitcoin to increase, and because of that, Riot stock has been benefiting significantly. So earlier today, I noticed that there was a big unusual option activity transaction in Riot. So when we look at Riot, you can see that there's this big influx of calls that came into for a 15 strike price expiration this December 24th, which is someone's looking for the stock to move pretty significantly in the short term, right? And so the implied volatility is also pretty high. However, if we want to try to take a more conservative position, and looking at where the stock price is at right now, a safer position would be for us to look at expiration later on in the month, just in case the stock price doesn't go in the direction. But right now, the trend is in favor of a bullish direction because of kind of everything going on in the market and the news. So when we're looking at a later strike price of 12.31, we can see that a few of these kind of stand out. In particular, one that I think is a safer option would be on the 12 strike price range for expiration 12.31, mainly because of a few key ideas. So you can see that the last level of resistance was at 12, so that right there puts us above a safe range where we can expect the stock to be above this level of resistance if it's breaking past it. So it's a good conservative position on that end. And also when we're looking at the daily resistance levels, we can see that the first level resistance was around there, 11.6, and then 12. So 12 puts us at a good range in case the price of the stock does come back down because of the volatility. But because of the volatility as well, there's a lot of potential on the upside, and a lot of the trends that are been going on right now are indicative of that potential. So I think it's a very good position there with the strike price at 12. Now, when we want to talk about, so our entry point would roughly be, when we want to talk about entry points and target levels as well as stop loss levels, we want to look at where kind of the price action has been going on for the stock. So right now the stock's around like 1486. We know the resistance level is at 12, so we'd want to enter the stock anywhere above this price right now. So any time right now is a good entry. So want to enter the stock roughly around above 14 or just anywhere above the first level of resistance is fine. And for as far as profit target levels, I think the first target level would be reaching this 1565, and then from there you have another target level of your intraday high of 1570, and from there you have the third target level of 1610. So at these levels, if you were to enter into these contracts, you would consider closing out your position. So if the stock reached, if you got in anywhere between 1486 and 1665 and 1565, then you'd close out either there or here or there. And totally up to you depending on how you feel the momentum of the stock is going. So now let's kind of take a look at what these are costing, and right now it's pretty favorable because these are actually pretty cheap. So if we're looking at expiration 12/31, the more favorable in the money call options, you can see that these are fairly cheap. So one contract will cost you 330, and I think this is also a pretty conservative position because the implied volatility still hasn't reached so much peaks, but there's a lot of open interest still in this particular volume. So you can see that it's like 500,000, which is pretty decent amount of potential there. So there you go, you guys. I think with that, considering where the stock is at right now, around 1472, this might be a good entry point, and then potentially having exit points with the stock reaching 1565 or its previous intraday high, or its other level above that, so of RSI. So yeah, I think those would be good positions to take, and of course the stop loss would be with the stock back down to its to its close to, or not its closing price, to its last resistance point. So I think 12 would be a good stop loss, since we're pretty safe in there in the money. So anywhere back at 12 would be pretty decent stop loss, or I guess 13 if you wanted to also go in that direction, but which would make it sounds like a kind of steep loss. So really anywhere between 12 and 1486 you want to set your stop loss. I figure if probably more conservative stop loss would be roughly around that 1450 range, and then just to give you enough room in case the stock does go back down, but then shoot back up because of it setting a new low and then a new high. So you can see there that that would be roughly the ideal positioning. Now let me know what you guys think. If you're already in Riot, let me know your thoughts on Bitcoin. And remember, if these trade ideas are helpful to you, remember to subscribe or like or post comments of any ideas you may have. So thanks again for watching, you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.